Hi, I'm Aron. I was lead singer of the Slants.
I'm Jonathan. I play guitar for the Slants from 2007 to 2013.
Tyler. I played drums for the Slants between 2008 and 2016.
And this is Simon, bass player for the Slants.
And this is Joe. Am I in focus?
So we're here talking about the 18th anniversary of Slanted Eyes, Slanted Hearts. I mean, I can't believe that our first album just became a full legal adult.
It was 18 years old. It's pretty crazy because it doesn't feel that long ago, but then if you think about it, it probably was that long ago.
Yeah, technically I wasn't in the band when it was recorded, although I was playing on the album. I recorded some guitar parts on it.
Now it can vote and die for this country and buy cigarettes, but it can't quite drink yet. But it probably has a fake ID by now, so it probably will drink. Slanted Eyes, Slanted Heart is definitely drinking.
It's crazy how fast and perspective-wise, like it's I don't know, it almost feels like a dream. Like just doesn't feel real at times.
Looking back at it, I'm pretty impressed at how you guys were able to make those songs for an album under the gun, basically.
There were a couple riffs and like ideas for songs, like "We Will Never Die" was one of the first like riffs or songs I started writing out. But like we had these like ideas that were kind of percolating. A lot of times it involved with me just driving over to his place, showing him something, and because I couldn't play the keyboard, but I wanted it to be synthy. And then once Aron joined, and then Chen joined almost about the same time because she also auditioned to sing, but we decided she'd be better as another keyboard player. We just started cranking out songs like as quickly as possible.
The process was typical Slants fashion. It was kind of like, hey, we have a deadline and get it as fast as possible. And at the time, I was kind of like, what's the rush? Like, it's like, what's the deadline for? I didn't really see it.
Aron would bring like a journal of like lyrics, and sometimes we'd be like, oh, let's do this line instead. We were doing quite a bit of writing while we were in the middle of the studio, that's for sure.
We just busted it out in the garage as much as we could all the time. What we do it like a week?
I questioned it like up until actually having the album. I kind of questioned the whole like motive behind it. I didn't really understand the direction of what you wanted to do. So we released it at Kumoricon.
Japanese animation and culture comes to life in Vancouver this weekend. It's the annual Kumoricon convention. Participants dress up and celebrate anime at the Vancouver Hilton.
That was my first show, not technically in the band, but, playing the songs live. I was just kind of blown away by the response of it. The kids were just really embraced it, and then it just kind of clicked. I was like, oh, wow, this could actually... this could actually be something, it could actually go somewhere, and that kind of solidified it for me, and I was like, I kind of just want to be a part of it. I've never played a room where it was just filled. It almost felt like there's people from wall to wall, and that was a pretty decent-sized auditorium. I don't know, at least 1,500 people, I would guess. If I remember correctly, I think Aron even broke his foot at that show. So it was, it was a pretty, it was very intoxicating, I should say. Just getting that energy and people feeding off it was kind of like, oh, what can we do next?
You were in a bunch of other bands before the Slants. So how did this compare to those album releases? Because this feels like, in my mind, it seems insane. You guys did this in such a short time, and also went all out on the merch side of things, which none of my bands ever did that in the past.
Yeah. We always had merch in the other bands, but not as much as we had in the Slants. This seemed like a well-oiled machine, really.
So we talked about this in the past about like how the band was created before there was a band. There was like a show before a band was formed. Was that insane to you? Because that seems insane to me that you guys had a crazy deadline before you guys even had any music.
Ever since I can remember, it's like there's a deadline. Like, okay, like you're pushing for this release date, and I didn't really understand it. Where this band's kind of like, oh, we have this deadline, and it has to be really quick. And recording in your garage with like blankets up to try and get it as studio-esque as possible.
Yeah, I mean, our first studio was like where I used to park my car, and then there wasn't enough room for the car and the gear, so then just turned it into that space, and we're just trying to get this thing out for a deadline, because we wanted the album in hand enough for playing Kumoricon.
I didn't understand it. I really didn't know where Simon was going with it. And I was like, I don't know, man. I think you're just going too fast. But knowing Simon for as long as I have, even prior to that, I probably should have had a little bit more faith in it. Put, just kind of trust it. And lo and behold, he was onto something.
You guys have this relationship that goes back to what, like elementary school, middle school, or whatever it is. So you already kind of know Simon's all about like, let's market, let's make merch, let's get it going. You guys are little punk, DIY punk kids. So you actually have more experience than we probably did, most of us, when we joined the band.
Simon and my older brother, they were friends, and they started their own, punk rock band. And even in high school, I think Simon started his own like record label. Like, who starts their own record label? And this is before CDs. This is when you have like 4-track cassettes. And I think I even remember like Simon buying the first like CD burner. I was like, "What? You can make your own CDs? That's amazing! Like, this is so cool."
I mean, when I met Simon, he had a business plan prior to band members or songs or anything. I was very impressed, because I remember watching the band at I think at Studio 7, and I don't know if it was like, one of my friends said to me like, you should really join their band, because like think about like how you're playing with this, like think about how like how much it would hit. Like by the time I joined, it was almost like jumping onto the coattails. Like I didn't have to do any of the hard work that you guys did. You guys hustled and got the band to where it was. By the time I joined, like we were doing huge, fly-out shows every weekend. So it was a very cushy kind of experience for me. And so it's like, who am I to question the approach like that? It's working. I mean, the energy of the band always blew me away.
I will say that these songs, where it really truly hit me was actually at our last show, our first retirement show. That was the first time me and Ken Shimo, who was the singer when I joined the band, we saw this lineup, and you guys went on stage with some early like Slant songs, and probably from Sesh. And it blew our minds, right? It blew our minds. We know the song pretty well. We've all played these songs many, many times. But to see the way you guys went on stage at probably 40 years old at the time, or no, maybe a little younger than that, and just fucking rocked it, like went crazy on stage. That's what like me and Chima in the backstage were just like, oh my God, this is what it was like back in 2007, 2008, 2009, whenever Tyler was in the band too. And I was like, okay, now I understand the music part, or the band part of it. Like, I've heard the songs. I'm iffy on the album as far as like how many songs I actually remember from it, and I actually know them, by heart in any ways. But to see you guys actually perform those songs blew our minds. Hit like Sakura to me is the Slants hit.
About being proud about being slant-eyed and whatnot, but we did sometimes come over, we get some racism and people call you slant-eyed or Chinese, always calling me Chinese even though I'm Vietnamese, you know what I mean, or bowing at you or thinking you know Kung Fu, which I did not know Kung Fu, I wish, but so a little political about being Asian.
looking back at it, I'm pretty impressed at how you guys were able to make those songs for an album under the gun, basically.
Was there a particular song from Slanted Eyes that like really resonated with you personally?
Kokoro. That's that was the best song on the whole album. That's a song. And shooting that video was fun.
Send them overseas. Do you want to tie me up and take this knife and tell me when I bleed?
Just happened to look into another person's apartment. We didn't know. I'd never lived there. We were just shooting a video there. And then, Naked Lady.
I know a lot of people like Kokoro or in Soccer, but I've always, I mean, they're, I don't know, maybe I got a little burned out by them, but I've always liked Love Within My Sins.
Love within my sins. Love within my sins.
Simon punched me in the face just now.
I think at the time it was just kind of happening, and I don't think I have too much recollection outside of the fact that, oh my God, I get to join a band that tours? That's amazing.
Well, I wanted to be part of it from the get-go because, being like in a white town Astoria growing up, I really wanted to get more identity with my Asian self and my culture.
I remember telling, fellow acquaintances, like, oh yeah, my old band's gonna be in this museum. Like, what? What band is this? Like, what are you talking about? So it's kind of cool to experience that. I am no longer surprised by anything that this band like provides. So it was kind of just like it kind of just goes in that Slants box of like expect the unexpected.
Going into that Songbirds Museum and walking around and seeing all these legendary guitars all over the place. Like, man, I can't believe we're even allowed in the lobby of this building. It's a huge honor, and the fact that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame asked for instruments from us, regardless of what they're going to do with them, even if they're going to sit in their basement for till the end of time, it's a huge honor.
This is probably going to be the best I can do, and this is pretty sweet. So I'll take it and gladly support it, supporting the museum because of it in a way, because they put us in a museum. Now, like, I'll do whatever I can to keep this going, because it'd be kind of cool for any other artists who are not maybe at the level of who we just listed at the Songbirds, right? Like, we're not going to be Roy Orbison or whoever and etched in history, but just to be part of this thing where like we're marginalized communities, Asian American, people of color, do something with art that is remembered and inspire other people to do more stuff. So I think we're just part of that now.
For me, I mean, I've always been fond of the live shows. I think that's, I want people to remember going to our show and being like, wow, it was the best show I've ever seen in my life. That was kind of like that was a big motivating factor for me, in the words of Simon, let's start, let's melt some faces off. So that's, That's what we did.
Fans or people who watch the band play who bought the album and will, come across it in their collection someday to like Jonathan said, think of the live show and have it be such a great live show that they remember it just from seeing the cover of the album and remembering that, we put on a stadium level show at an empty bar that they saw us in. We put everything into every single show, regardless of where it was, and something I'm very proud of.
A guy walks into an anime convention without a band, without music, without anything, and books a show, and then within a year makes it all happen. Tell that to any kid who thinks they can't start a band or do shows or whatever.
And that guy could barely play bass, so.
I mean, that's if that's the truth, that's still amazing because, again, tell that to some kid who's just like, oh, I'm not good enough to do that. I still think that. I'm still like, oh, I'm not good enough to go and play a show. After this, like after however many years I've been in the band, I'm still like, am I good enough to do this thing? And then I'm like, oh wait, that's right. No, we literally just did this for however many long years.